safe. I've seen it again and again. The people who reach the top are the ones who are willing to leap when everyone else clung to the edge. If you never dare to pursue what you love, you'll spend the rest of your life haunted by regret, knowing you let fear stop you from becoming the person you were meant to be. Lady Gaga was no overnight sensation. She bet everything on herself long before the world knew her name. At 19, she dropped out of a top university to chase a music career, working 3 day jobs just to survive. Soon, her gamble seemed to pay off. She landed a record deal, but 3 months later, the label dropped her. Gaga was devastated. That Christmas, she moved back into her childhood home in tears. Everything in her screamed that she'd failed, but instead of giving up, she doubled down on her dream. She hit the grimy New York clubs and burlesque shows that finally let her unleash her authentic self. There, amid the dive bars and drag queens, she honed the fearless persona that we now know. And it was in one of those clubs that she got her next big break. R&B star Akon saw her perform and signed her to an Interscope imprint. By 2008, Lady Gaga's debut album was a global smash, and the world recognized a star had been born. But remember this, when she was dropped by that first label, Gaga felt the same crushing doubt you feel when your dreams get rejected. She faced the same pressure to quit that you might be facing right now. The only difference is she didn't quit. She felt the fear and kept going anyway, and that made all the difference. When I was 19, I had to make the hard decision of my life. I had dream job offers waiting, jobs I'd wanted all through college, and I turned them all down. Instead, I agreed to take 30% of a struggling startup and pay myself just $300 a month. I was supposed to be a banker, not an entrepreneur living on ramen and hope. I was terrified, but I said yes to the startup, and it absolutely did not go as planned. We sucked at the start. We failed over and over, and those failures drove me into the lowest point of my life. After continuing to look at my empty bank account, I finally broke. One day, I told my business partner, I'm done. I quit. I felt like I'd wasted a year of my life and had nothing to show but fear and shame. The next night was the worst of my life, but the next morning, something in me flipped. I realized I could handle failing, but I could not handle giving up on my dream. If I quit now, I'd always wonder what might have been. So I decided to give it one more shot. But this time I tried something different. I read how Bill Gates made his first million and discovered his strategy of partnering to sell software. So why not model it, I thought. I went back to my partner, yes, after quitting the day before, and we refocused our approach. I started reaching out to potential partners, trying to sell through them instead of all alone. And within a few weeks, I closed my first major deal. Everything began to turn around. That tiny company I joined at $300 a month grew to over 300 customers in 30 countries, and we got acquired. None of that would have happened if I hadn't made one gutsy decision under pressure: to press on just a little bit longer when every fiber of my being wanted to run. I was scared, I hesitated, and I acted anyway. And that made me who I am today. Now, you might be thinking, sure, this all sounds great for them, but I just can't risk everything like that. I have responsibilities. I'm not Lady Gaga or Elon Musk. I'm just me. Maybe you have a family to support or a mortgage to pay. Maybe you're telling yourself you're just not talented enough. You're not lucky enough, not something enough to pull it off. Listen, that voice is lying to you. Every one of the people that I'll talk about here, they felt the fear. They had doubts. They had people telling them they were crazy, but they didn't let that stop them, and neither can you. In fact, the riskiest thing you can do is play it safe. Mark Zuckerberg, who built Facebook, said it best. In a world that's changing really quickly, the only strategy that is guaranteed to fail is not taking risks. If you freeze and you do nothing, you're virtually guaranteeing that nothing will change. And years from now, do you know what hurts more than failure? Regret. Psychologists have found that when people look back on their lives, they regret the chances they didn't take far more than the ones they did. So yes, you might fail if you go after your dream, but if you don't even try, you'll live with regret. Which one do you think is worse? The pressure you're feeling right now, that knot in your stomach, it's not there to hold you back. It's there to push you forward. So let's push forward together.